So this is our team, our Afghan team. It's all the members of our Afghan team plus some other folks from Afghanistan. This was a team meeting that we had in New Delhi in India a few years back. And we have not had conversations with our team in Afghanistan since obviously the government fell last August. But we are picking them up again. And so a number of members of our team left Afghanistan. We got them out. It was really pretty, well, we can tell the story a little bit, but there are 5 people in that photo who had to leave, who left Afghanistan and are now living in Europe, and for their safety. And if you're following Afghanistan, you have some idea what I'm talking about. But we are picking the conversation up. We're going to have a class with our team members and talk about immigration and refugee status. So I want to put that out there to anybody in class who has a connection to being a refugee. It'd be really nice that you could volunteer that day. So maybe you said that in your I'll just go down the front here. Okay, no, I won't. I'll be right here. Maybe you said that in your application, but if somebody does, it'd be really nice to volunteer that day. But we're also going to be having some conversations with people you are going to have dialogues with people who are still in Afghanistan, okay? And so I'm telling you this for 2 reasons. One, because it's very dangerous for them to be talking to you. So if you're following Afghanistan at all, you've heard this word, the Taliban. It's very dangerous for them to talk to you. Okay, so their cameras will be off, and they will use different names. So none of these people in the photo, by the way. So understand, you're going to do some of you are going to do dialogues with people in Afghanistan, and their cameras will be off. So just understand that that's why. Okay, it's a privilege, by the way, to have that opportunity. And if you get scheduled for an Afghan dialogue, I can let you know which ones they are. It would be really nice. We'll send information out with maybe a video for you to watch or some info for you to read, because it would be really nice. The more you understand about what's going on, the better it will be. And if you for sure want to be, for whatever reason, definitely want to be in one of those conversations with young people in Afghanistan, if you let Julie know, we can arrange to make sure to give you the information about when those conversations will be, so you can try to schedule them, okay? What I want to say is that, not just in Afghanistan but also in Iraq, and largely everywhere, but especially Afghanistan and Iraq, it is really it's a unique privilege that you all have to talk to people in some of the places where we're talking to people, everywhere first off, but especially in some of the places. And so I really want to put that out there because it matters tremendously to them, and I just want you to be reflecting on that when you go into some of these global dialogues in particular. Okay, it's a really big. So like my team members, who are team members who are who've left everything behind, man. Just imagine leaving everything behind and watching your entire country just kind of fall apart, and you may never go home. We have team members who may never see their parents again. They may never see their brothers and sisters again, ever. And just understanding how big that is, and that people are still in danger. So it's big. So and I'm not saying you should be thinking about it, you should be concerned. There are no shoulds. Oh, you're so privileged, you should be thinking about, like that kind of thing. It's not about that. Because you should just be concerned about your own life and being a better person than the one you are today or the one you were yesterday. That's the only should that you should walk around with. But in order to grow into full human beings that we all want to be, it's really nice to, like this is the empathy piece, right? It's nice to be like bats in the sonar thing, that we're like sending that information out all around, just pinging life around us to better understand what it is other people are experiencing. Okay, so you will meet some really awesome people as we move forward. Okay, right now we have, it looks like we have about 20 minutes, and I'd like to respond to some questions that it maybe came up for you in the these first 5 weeks. Maybe some thoughts about what you're hoping to explore or this sort of thing. And Nidhi and I both have microphones. Who wants to kick something out? Because I can just keep talking, but it'd be really nice if I could respond to somebody. But I don't have to. Bro.
I was just curious about what the beads mean.
What these beads are?
Yep.
Well, these are actually prayer beads from Egypt, and gifted to me by my friend Bassam, who you will meet, and who has spoken in the class a couple times. He's a friend from Iraq. And I think for always when I'm teaching, my entire life as a teacher, I've always carried prayer beads because they just help to really center me. Like it's not, I think I just feel best and I operate best when I feel more centered. And so I always want to be centered into some other kind of spiritual connection with something. So sometimes I have, Catholic prayer beads and Buddhist prayer beads, and these are Muslim prayer beads.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, at some point I'll tell the story about how I accidentally converted to Islam. So my Muslim name is Suleiman. So how about someone else? What do you have? Just question. I mean, it's we're here. We're 5 weeks in. Like, what do you want to? What do you want to know? What do you got? But it can be a personal question too, like that. I mean, there's no question that's not. Who's got a question? Dude, you have a question? You gotta have some question, man. All right, hang on. Go ahead.
Where's the most interesting place that you've traveled to?
The most interesting place, the one that I think really shook my consciousness in a deep way, is probably Japan, just because it did. But the one that shook me in, maybe Iraq, I don't know. It's crazy. Russia, Iraq, I don't know. Haiti. You might meet Ernson next week. Yeah, if you do. Yeah. At so many places. Everywhere I go. It's, everywhere I go here in the U.S., life is just filled with wonder. And Ethiopia, dude. Maybe Ethiopia is yeah. See that? I don't have an answer to that question. Just like I don't have answers to most questions. Somebody else, yeah, go ahead.
I saw that one of the articles was written by you and your wife. So do you guys have a book, or what is that from?
We were working on a book. I was working on a book, and that one I wrote with her because, and then I just never did. Because, you know why? Because what happened was, as I was talking to book publishers, I realized how much the book was going to cost. And I said, I can just write this stuff and give it away for free. I mean, it's just so anyway, I did that. So I didn't. I think I ended up with 4 chapters, and then I just stopped. And then we do videos. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah, just push it up.
Sorry about that. Has the class always been this size, or has it been the last couple years it's really started to gain like popularity?
No, it's when I first started teaching, it was 150 students. Then we went to about 240 for a while, and then we went to 480 in here. I could have had it larger, but I was always trying to keep it down a little bit. And then maybe for the past 15 years, it's been at almost 17 or 18 years. It's been this size, yeah. Yeah.
And in your opinion, what would be the biggest reason why your class size has grown? If you have if you notice something that has like really been a factor in how it's grown so much.
Well, I think that I think people are really interested in the subject matter. I think that it's different over the years, the ways in which people are interested, but I think people are really interested in the subject matter. And I think because I've always given a voice to students as opposed to just lecturing, and I think that makes it a little bit more interesting, especially because I think students realize pretty quickly it's more interesting listening to students than to me, maybe. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't doubt that. But, yeah, so I would say that, yeah. I would say I make it mildly entertaining. I used to be funnier than I am. I can't tell jokes anymore. I get in trouble. So, you know, yeah. Maybe that's a reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just their jokes are so bad, people are trying to...
So before taking your class, a couple of my friends
Wait,
sent
hang on. Go ahead, start over.
So before taking the class, a couple of my friends sent me your videos, like on CNN, Fox News.
Uh-huh.
Do you personally want to be more well-known or less
No.
well-known?
No, I don't want to be well-known. The worst thing to be is show up on the front page headlines anywhere. There's only two reasons you're going to be on the headlines. Something really good or something really bad. It's 50-50, and I don't like those odds. So I don't ever want to be known anywhere. And that's not the reason we do videos, right? The reason we started doing videos is because we used the videos for the online version of the course that we've been doing for 15 years. And then we also use them for the assignments in class. Because students would say, we'd be like, hey, why don't you write a reflection on the class this week, right? But like, someone would leave class and they wouldn't even remember that we had class. I mean, I'm like, holy crap. Like, so we're like, well, what we'll do is we'll record the classes so you'll remember and you can write the videos, the reflections on them and that sort of thing. And then we just get really, it's just fascinating to do it. But I don't track it, you know what I mean? Like, I do it and I walk away. I don't watch video. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you never want to be well known.
I'll give you a little bit of a story. When we first started making reflection videos, I used to title them, whatever the title was, Sam Richards in Social 19. And Sam told me, maybe let's not put my name in it because it's less about me and it's more about the conversations we're going to have as a class. So you also might see our thumbnails on YouTube don't have just Sam by himself. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times it's the student volunteers or it's people elsewhere because it's really not about Sam as much as it is about all of you.
Yeah, it's really more about Jeff here, actually, in the stream team that right? Like, I don't even know if people, I ask you sometimes, do people even watch? Like, I don't even know. I know nothing.
Does Sam look at the comments? No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not unless if I send
Unless
them
they're
to you.
funny ones. There's some really good. Some people have some really awesome takedown comments that I love. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy people making fun of me, especially when it's really funny. So, yeah, bro.
What's your favorite article or video you were assigned for this quiz?
For this one,
Yeah.
you know what? The one from from Reason about the police. Yeah, because it's so you have this idea. Look, if you consider, the one about the police, right, and police violence, that is one of the most, that magazine, Reason Magazine, is one of the two premier conservative magazines in the United States. So I subscribed to it for, 15 years, right? It's like if you're a conservative, a true conservative, not one of these Republican Fox News watching conservatives, a true conservative, right? Then you subscribe to Reason or National Review. It's one or the other, right? And that critique of the police is such a beautifully written conservative critique. And so if you consider yourself to be a conservative, right? And about 25% of you do, although, like most of us, we don't really know what that means. But go back and read that. That is a conservative critique of power. It's classic, it's beautiful, right? And so I would say that. That's a pretty cool article. And then the one on Afghanistan is pretty cool. Yeah. Yes, bro. Hey.
I know either you or someone else talked about you doing this, but can you? I know you said when you were younger you did shrooms or something.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that experience and what that was like?
Shrooms. Shrooms. Well, let me just say this. I was going to do shrooms over the break, and I never got around. And I just didn't get look, it's not a thing that you play around with, right? So you have to be in the right space. It's it's a plant. I mean, this is an energy. This is a life force, right? Like, you don't play around with this kind of thing. So you have to be really in the right. It's not the kind of thing you do and then you go out and you walk down College Avenue and you hang and you laugh with your friends or whatever. You don't do that. Don't play that with that stuff, right? With any drug at all, it doesn't matter. Even cannabis, don't do that. And this stuff is really powerful. So when I was young, a lot of my friends were really into LSD, and I never did because I didn't feel like I was really ready for it. So finally, when I was 26, going on almost 26, I was in Mexico, and I went up in the mountains in Mexico, in southern Mexico, in an area where people do shrooms as a spiritual part of their spiritual journey, and I was ready, and really crazy, fascinating story. I mean, I have so many stories. I wish I could just tell the whole story because it was a really cool story. But no, just that I went. This was a town that was above the clouds, right? I got off this bus. I knew where I was going because my friend had a little cabin, which was just about the size of about that right there. That's the screen right there, and I went. I found a woman who made chicken soup, starting with catching the chicken and killing it and plugging it. And it was that was about a 3-hour adventure. And then somebody went and picked shrooms for us, right? Because it was part of the journey. I started the day an atheist. And the next morning when I woke up, I had seen God. I had experienced God. And I don't mean God in the shrooms. I mean, I had experienced the cosmic nature of the interconnectivity of all of life. And so my life was never the same, right? So then I did shrooms again, I don't know, a couple years later, but you don't ever need to do them again. Once you have an experience like that, you're done. You don't keep trying to have it because it's kind of, you just don't. It's like falling in love. When you fall in love in that one really unique, special way, you don't do it again. You work on that because you know that inside of that experience is godliness. So I talk about God, but the way I talk about God is not the way other people do. But yeah, that was my experience. It completely, radically changed my life in a beautiful way. Yeah.
So my question is sort of a follow-up. Should we all try shrooms at some point? And then also,
this would be a quiz
is
question.
it more beneficial to get high than drink then? Because you have these
Oh, interesting question.
things happen.
All right, hang on. What are your parents' names?
My parents'
Yeah.
names, they will never watch this. So
I know,
my dad's name is Brett, and then my mom's name is Maureen.
Brett and Maureen. Okay,
Yeah.
Brett and Maureen. I'm going to give her the politically correct answer. No, you should not all try shrooms, okay? For sure. All right. So here, no. Because, look, first off, at some point in time, we're going to do some kind of class on, I really want to talk about, a few people have approached me about talking about mental illness and stuff, right? And living in that, the in between two worlds. And I think we should talk about that. But no, you have to be ready for it. And you have to really be prepared, and you want to have some kind of a guide. You really do. You really do. And so not everybody has the luxury of having that and being ready and being able to have a guide. And so you want to just go, no. I find alcohol to be pretty low. It's pretty not very interesting because it doesn't open the wisdom seeking cells in our consciousness, right? But a lot of times people they abuse. We abuse drugs. Like if you smoke weed every day, you're a pothead and you're an addict and you need to stop, man. And people play these games about like, well, but it's a medicine for me. I'm like, dude, you can't. No, it's not, right? It's not. And I'm a Pennsylvania medical marijuana caregiver, so I'm licensed to help people with their journey. Like, no, it's not. Stop. You're just a pothead. It's no different than getting drunk every day. Well, I didn't expect the conversation to go in this direction, but okay.
Yo, just a quick question from the stream. Ika asked, what is one thing that you would like to learn more about?
Physics. Yeah. Science, physics, microbiology and physics. I'm fascinated by physics and microbiology. Yeah. I wish I had time. Yeah. Yes.
I was just wondering how you were able to maintain your relationships with people from other countries and how you were able to like talk with them even if your first language is like English.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I like for example, when I converted to Islam, I was with a Sufi who did not speak any English, and we just sat in front of each other and laughed and giggled for about an hour and a half or so, until he invited me to repeat some words that he was saying in Turkish and then in Arabic, and then I realized that, oh, shit, I'm a Muslim. Like, oh my God, right? Apparently, I said it correctly, and so. You don't always you can really connect with people without the language, but all of my colleagues, unless they're Spanish speaking, because I speak Spanish, they all speak English. So the people you're going to meet speak English, right? Yeah.
So to follow up, like say for people that want to advocate around the world, like what advice would you give for them if they don't have any knowledge of any other languages?
Well, you don't. Wait, hang on. This is actually a really good question. First off, just send little probes out to see like what it is about other people in other places that you really want to understand. And then make sure you understand as much as possible your own surroundings, right? A lot of us try to leave where we're at and recreate ourselves somewhere else. But a lot of times we don't do enough work in our own surroundings. I would say that. Yeah. All right. Wait. What time is it, bro? It's 33. All right, we have 2 minutes. We have time for one more question, man. Bro.
What's like the best piece of life advice that you could give?
Best life advice I would give? Oh my God, it's perfect as we go into this quiz. Okay, you ready? Here, get ready. This is my last thing, and then we'll start. Wait, hang on. Wait, the quiz isn't going to start until I tell Julie to start it, so don't. Wait, hang on. I'm going to give you some advice that you won't understand until maybe you're my age. And you'll look back and you'll say, God, that so-and-so was right. And here's what it is. Everything that happens in our lives brings with it positive and negative consequences. Everything. And they're evenly split between positive and negative. So, for example, those of you who did not study for this quiz, and you're not going to do well on it, as a result of that, that not doing well is going to bring some negative consequences and some positive consequences. And the positive consequences are just as likely to be so amazing, to have such a positive transformation on your life. You will never know that until time goes by and you see all of the things that happened as a result of that. And it's really hard to hold that idea, but it's true. And I will tell you that when you get to be my age and you look back in time and you see everything that has happened, I look at everything that's happened, positive, and all the negative that happened because of the positive, and all the positive that happened because of the negative. It's just like life is a mystery. Hence the shrooms. So